10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Drag racing fan, it is Tuesday night. It is the Competition Plus Power Hour. I am your host, Lee Craft, the Monday Morning Racer, along with Mr. Dujanay Bland, host of the Not Bland Show. Well, you've already got your vocal cords warmed up, Mr. Bland. You had a show, already knocked one out. I know that you and Mr. Wazlowski were talking about the most recent NHRA race, and an entertaining drag race it was. And I was certainly tuned in because now the points do matter and the rules are real.
Yeah, it's got to be one of the best countdown starts I think we've seen in a very long time. I probably could go ahead and just say in its countdown history. You couldn't have written a better story than this one. And how it all played out, the storylines there, it doesn't get any better, man. And dang, Shawn Reed going back to back gets himself an NHRA Ironman and his return to test and see how his hands and everything with the missing digit is going to work and get his feel back in the car. And then he comes out here at Maple Grove Raceway and says, you know what, let's try to do it again, and manages to do it again. That's impressive.
Very impressive. And, congratulations to him. He had done something in winning back-to-back events, one IHRA, one NHRA, that hadn't been done since 1999, and Doug Herbert doing it. I was in a drag racing chat, and they were like, hey, when's the last time that happened? And I was like, man, I imagine it was late 80s, but Doug Herbert is that outlier during that time of back and forth between IHRA and NHRA, and reaching out to David Wazlowski and asked him, and he's like, yeah, it looks like 1999, Doug Herbert, the last time that has happened. What a wild drag racing world we exist in right now. Again, what alternate reality did we shoot off in the drag racing world that we now in 2025 can say it has been, 20, that's math is failing me right now, but 25 years.
25 years.
Yeah, since that has occurred. And you have Shawn Reed doing it. It only took a finger to apparently get the mojo to such directions. But it's wild, and what an accomplishment that is. And
yeah.
And this race, Drag Racing Mayhem put out there that Maple Grove delivered as it should. And I will say that Maple Grove never not delivers.
I agree.
And some years we don't get this, but other years we get records.
Mm-hmm.
Other years we get stories such as Tommy Johnson Jr. filling in for a Matt Hagan and performing the way in which he did. And, things of that nature. It seems like this first countdown race and it being held at Maple Grove, it just delivers each and every time. It might hit different of a delivery, but nonetheless, it delivers each and every time, and we got it this past weekend. It seemed like just about everybody was a surprise winner, except obviously Dallas Glenn, but yet that was a surprise going back with that semifinal matchup between him and Greg Anderson, and what transpired there. So, this was a great NHRA drag race.
It was. And the people who were able to win, like our first guest, we talked to Jason Bunker right after the first big one, the big explosion that they had. And, his comments were, they were trying to figure that out. But even before that, they were on a track to finding that level of consistency. And they've had some small issues come up and some things that have come back as far as some explosions, but they have been moving forward to this point to where we saw what we saw. And what a better time to find it and to find the level of consistency than in the countdown.
Perfect time. Get hot when you need to get hot, and that is certainly in the countdown. And though Cruz went on to win the race, there were other performances throughout the day of some people that might have found that combination again. I think of Paul Lee. Paul Lee performed very well. And you have Austin Prock going out round 2, and it shakes things up a little bit. You have Spencer Hyde performing well with a number 1 qualifying effort and going around. We might have a battle, and not just in Funny Car, but in Top Fuel, going down the wire as well. So, and I think this sets up this weekend 4 wide in the countdown, and what transpired and how it was shook up. Can people go in and carry momentum, or can people turn their momentum from this first race of the countdown?
Yeah, I think with you look at the weather, I think it's going to be we looked at the weather on the Not Bland show earlier, and it's going to be in the 80s, 60s at night. It's basically the same type of conditions that we had there at Reading. So heat in the track will be a factor, and I think that plays right into the hands of people like Cruz, that and Shawn, that have basically they have a tune-up that can go A to B in those conditions. You don't have to worry about trying to scale back a whole bunch of horsepower. Those guys that like running big numbers, that's great, but that don't work for you on those types of tracks. You can get bit by the old wisp or tire shake or smoke. So I think it's going to be another race where we find that we're going to see some winners that we didn't think we were going to have. And I talked about it on my show. The strategy for me, if I'm a driver, is I at least want to be in the final quad. Doesn't matter if I win, but I at least want to be in the final quad, because if I'm in the final quad, that means I'm keeping pace with the guys at the top. But can you imagine if the guys at the top 1 through 4 end up in the same quad in round 1? Woo! Talk about butt clenching.
The stories that we're going to get out of Z-Max Dragway this weekend, especially after the weekend we just had.
Yes.
And let's talk to that winner in Fuel Funny Car, Cruz Pedregon, in just a moment after this word from our presenting sponsor, and that is Weldon High Performance. You want high performance pumps for your application on the track? Look no further than Weldon. Cruz Pedregon, welcome once again to the Competition Plus Power Hour, and we are certainly glad to have you and congratulate you on a win.
Hey, man, thank you. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on.
It looks like you guys have been chopping at the bit. You've been trying to figure out and get this playbook set up so that you guys can start getting to go rounds. And boy, did it all come together this weekend. I don't think people realize the hard work that you guys have been putting in up to this point to get this car to where it was on Sunday.
Yeah, you're right. I was listening to you guys earlier, and you're exactly right. These cars are like they're like a Rubik's cube. Just when you think you've got them figured out, you turn around the other side, and there's everything's off, or it throws you or throws you a curve. And we've had some self-inflicted battles that we've had to fight, but we kind of fought through it. And if you really pay attention to the car after the Western swing, I'm saying Brainerd, and you look at some runs we made there, even in the close losing causes, we were right there and going down the track in critical moments there. So we just the car is in a good place. It doesn't hurt parts. It's repeatable, and as long as we keep our head in the game and race smart like we did in Reading, we're definitely going to be there.
Well, that is good to hear in the Funny Car ranks that Cruz Pedregon is thinking that he is going to be there. You look this past weekend picking up a win. Does it validate the maturation process. You have in the past, people have been critical that you don't allow things to come along and mature. And
Yeah.
this was a process, and bringing Bunker on and get to this point, it took a while, even though it was getting there. You could see signs, but that Wally is like the best of signs.
Yeah, well, be honest with you, when you have these conversations with crew chiefs and sometimes as an owner, you're faced with a set of circumstances that are beyond your control. In fact, I remember sitting at the finals, and I wanted things to go on with the previous regime, but it was, the guy threw up his hands, so to speak. So, as an owner, it's much like an NFL team. The owner's going to get all the blame. Hey, why didn't you keep this guy, or why, But honestly, what goes on behind closed doors, sometimes it's just hard to work with guys that have other thoughts or other agendas, or budget comes into play, or somebody wants to hire them away from you. So, I've always tried to keep guys that I used to tell people, if you give me Austin Coyle, I'll never get rid of any crew chief in the rest for the rest of my life. Or give me Jimmy Prock, I'll be the good boy and be the greatest owner you've ever seen. But those guys are taken, and I'm glad that we got Jason Bunker on board. He's a young guy right out of Pro Mod, nostalgia funny cars. He had a couple years in Pro Nitro funny car, and I like his attitude. And I brought him under my wing, and here less than 2 years later, we're sitting here, in the winter circle. So it's been a process, but it's owning these cars I'm a driver and owner. I've got to make sure the budget flows and bring guys in that want to be here instead of guys that want to collect a paycheck. So there's a lot that goes into owning these cars. It's not just what people see us at the track and everything's great. There's a lot that goes into it. So, but the car is good, man. The car just is. I can't say enough. I'm glad that we're in the countdown. There's just 5 races left, and we're going to see where we're in the mix here, how we stack up here in the next few races. That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't think people realize that. I kind of liken everything to football, and when you have to make a change like that, and you have to make a coaching change, and you
Yeah.
have to get an assistant coach, you have to get guys that on staff. Now you have to get that whole thing, like an offensive line, to marry together, and sometimes it just doesn't happen right away. And I same as Lee, I told Tony that with his team in Gainesville, it's admirable. We are in a results-based business.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you don't see the results, you get a little antsy and you're like, all right, this isn't working. We got to blow this thing up and start over again. But you allowed Jason to get his feet, get this playbook for this car. And now the rewards are coming here at the most opportune time.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And the guy has a good attitude. I got to hand it to him. I mean, there's been some hard times in the lounge. I'm not going to lie. It's like being in the locker room. There's some serious conversations that go on in there, but he's 40 years old. He's just a young guy in this position, but I really admire his attitude. He's positive. He doesn't get his feelings hurt. He kind of just says, yeah, man, I'm learning, and it's going to be some growing pains, but he's hung in there. I would say our relationship is probably better than it's ever been. I think if anything, we're getting closer, and he and I are working better together than we ever have. So I'm really looking forward to many years with Jason. That's for sure.
Well, Dave W. brings it up, and I believe it was brought up on the national broadcast as well, but you finally edge out Tony in the number of total wins, national events, when you combine all of them from Fuel Funny Car, Top Alcohol Dragster, and Top Alcohol Funny Car with 44. Congrats, man.
Hey, go ahead.
I mean, when it comes around Thanksgiving or Christmas, you can poke and prod a little bit.
I did not know that, man. That's pretty good. Tony's, I've been at it longer, but he had a pretty stellar career. He drove some really good cars.
Yeah.
He was with John Force, so obviously there's some great personnel there and all that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, but yeah, man, it's It's great to this one here meant so much to me, man. It was just surreal. It's still, I mean, I'm here we are 2 days later. I'm still tired, wore out in a good way, you know. But my wife and I came down to Virginia Beach to try to relax and get some sun. We get out here and it's flood warnings and rain and all that. But we're by the water, you know, and we're just kind of chilling a little bit before we go to uh, Charlotte. But yeah, this one was, man, it was just such a crazy race. 'Cause I remember getting there Sunday at Reading early, like at 8, try to beat the traffic in there. And I remember telling the guys, I got the guys, you know, in a corner or in a little circle. I said, man, guys, we're in the countdown. Whatever we did prior to this, you know, throughout the season doesn't matter. We left some stuff loose. We got charged some oil downs, lost, you know, I don't know, 30 or 40 points on the way and got knocked out of the top 10 just via the penalty points from NHRA from, you know, things that are just they have to do. But I said it only matters what we do from this point forward. So we have this weekend, Charlotte, uh, St. Louis. So that, you know, it's like the playoffs. You know, we're like a wild card team. You know, you could make some noise, and it. So and here we are in the winter. We're in the end of the day. I reminded them about that little conversation we had there. So it was really cool to. A lot of these guys were the first time winners, first time. You know, they're kind of. My team's only like 30 some years old. If you were to average all the ages, including my crew chief, I kind of screw up the average there, but a lot of young guys. You know, I try to say it on the air. As I went the free agent or the free agency wasn't very good, so we went to the draft and just built this team with a bunch of young guys, man. And you know, and it's like I said, it's a lot of late sleepless nights and some growing pains, but I'm happy with the team I have, and man, we've got a bunch of guys that are enthusiastic, happy to be there. You know, good attitudes. So I'm enjoying it.
You've been at this a long time, Cruz. How much is this young team helping you out here, helping the veteran quarterback out?
Oh yeah, man. No, it's good because, like I said, you know, these funny cars. We've had some blowups this year. No matter what happens, man, these guys are ready to go, and they don't know any better. You know, they just get out there and we'll make sure we have a good inventory of parts, and yeah, they just keep rocking. And like I say, Jason, probably his biggest attribute, besides he's just a smart guy, you know, he's got a good attitude. I've worked with guys that you know, when I question them or I challenge them, all of a sudden, you know, they get their feelings hurt. They get all butt hurt, and pretty soon I'm the bad guy. It's like, dude, I got people to answer to too. It's not that I won the lottery or I fund the car out of my pocket. You know, I've got people to answer to. So to have Jason, you know, smile and you know, not take it personally, just that's why I can work with the guy. You know, like I said, I you know, I have to on those tough Mondays we go get our butts kicked first round or blow up. I gotta make those calls, and it's sometimes as the owner, it's like, well, I'm gonna go ask the guy that, and then I love it when we blow up the media. Hey, what happened, Cruz? I'm like, hey, how about the guy that's making the big bucks, the crew chief? Go ask him. Don't ask me. My ears are still ringing, and I'm still trying to dust my fire suit off from the smoke. So, but it's you know, it's good, man. But yeah, the young guys, man, they're I love the enthusiasm.
Obviously, a big win at Maple Grove. Now going into ZMAX 4 wide in autumn in the countdown. Is this the race that you wanted to take momentum into, or would you prefer it to be 2 wide?
No, I love the 4 wide. In fact, I've been an advocate for the 4 wide for a long time. In fact, I'm not going to take any credit for this, but you know, a couple of years ago, I mentioned to Glenn Carmel, I said, wouldn't it be cool to have a countdown or a 4 wide in a countdown? It's like a road course for NASCAR or like a short track for NASCAR, something other than the normal everyday thing. Just throw a little curve in it, you know, curveball. And so here we are. Yeah. So I think it's good. I think, you know, the cream's going to shine. The good drivers, the good cars, you know, you're going to have them in the semis, but it's just going to be one round, winner take all. And I like what you guys said just a few minutes ago. Like, if you just want to make that last quad. If you can be in that final quad, win, lose, or whatever, you're going to be in the mix going into St. Louis. So for us, yeah, man, it's Charlotte's one of my favorite tracks. It's a smooth track, fast. It's going to be in the 80s there, which is just pretty close to what it was in Reading. So yeah, it's I can't think of a better format and a better race. You know, second race into the countdown.
you've got so we're looking at this thing here. I just lost what I was getting ready to ask, Lee. Why? Is it age?
Hey man, I don't want to go there. I'm aging too. You know,
I must be getting old. You go. I gotta figure out what I was gonna say.
Was it about the 4-wide or
No? Okay, I got it. Okay. So you've been in this game for a long time. You've seen a lot of changes with funny cars and bodies. What's your take on these tethers on this race car?
Thank God for Matt Hagan being outspoken, because in fact I got a congrats from Matt Hagan, and I really like Matt a lot as a driver and a person. I think he's the real deal, and he doesn't sugarcoat it. And I saw that what happened to him. I was glancing at my screen there in my lounge, and I heard his interview afterwards, and he's right. They're dangerous. There's other ways to keep the crowd safe and to keep the bodies from going airborne and flying. But they had one incident years ago where a chunk of body flew close to a crowd. But it is so egregious that I've even thought, what if? And what if I'm trapped in there on fire? I can't breathe and I can't see where I'm going, and I don't know where the opponent is. I don't know where the wall is. Bad deal. So I think it's something that we're going to have to get together as drivers and owners at the end of the year and really come up with something different, because hey, funny cars, you got to remember, there is a driver in the car, and the driver, if he can't see at that speed, and if he's trapped and he can't breathe, and it's just basically what you're doing is you're allowing the fire and the body to stay with the car and the driver. And I wish you luck, guys. I hope for the best is what NHRA basically is saying. And I'm not one of those guys that likes to, I always feel like NHRA is a partner of ours, and as owners and drivers, we have to work with them, and they work with us. They write us a check and they give us trophies, and they provide the television package. So it's a very tight road to walk. But the fact is that rule with tethers on bodies that keep the bodies on the car during an explosion is not a good idea at all.
Well, what do you think the holdup is at this point, Cruz? Because I know from working at McKinney Corp that from the guy who puts the tethers on all the way to Murph, they're not a big fan of it. Then you just said you're not a fan of it. Hagan, and you look at the injuries of that Buddy Hole incurred, and obviously all the way back to John Force. Everybody knows about it. It's out there. It's been said over and over and over. Like, what is the holdup to actually getting changed? And we've seen the NHRA make rule changes mid-season. They do it all the time with factory stock and pro mod and so on. So what is this holdup?
I can't answer that, Lee, to be honest with you. I can't, I don't know what the rationale is there, other than they're dug in, I guess you could say. And, but I think it really was going to have to involve maybe pro, and some of the other team owners, and some outspoken guys like myself and Matt Hagan. I think some of the higher drivers are going to not be very vocal, just because that's just kind of the way it is. If you get an owner that pays a driver to drive the car, and the guy's sitting there going, "Hey man, I don't know if I want to drive this," typically the owner will say, "Well, I'll get somebody else to drive it." So guys like myself that don't have owners breathing down their necks, and Hagan, so to speak, Hagan kind of his own guy. I think there's a few of those, and maybe now with a few drivers like Ron Capps, a couple guys that are are owners now, maybe it'll be we'll band together and really come to them and just say, "Hey, here," and maybe take some alternatives to them. Maybe we need to talk to Murph and provide alternatives, so that there's a different way. Because I get the NHRA side of it. They don't want to endanger people that are in the stands and whatnot. And but yeah, I think it's just a matter of the right guys getting together, the right owners, and coming up with an alternative, rather than just go over there and have it just be a bitch session and just MF them to death and just say, "Hey, this is what it is." So I think, NHRA is reasonable. I've talked to them about a lot of issues, and they'll talk. I'm not saying they'll jump through hoops, but they're people just like us. So I think that's what it's going to take.
You've been with Snap-on for a long time. It's like that the brand is synonymous with you. Tell the fans about, because I know a little bit about, they stuck with you guys through the most hardest time, and that was COVID. You were able to keep your guys. They were just outstanding. Tell us a little bit about Snap-on and what they have meant to you.
Hey man, Snap-on's a great company. They're great to their customers. They're great to their franchisees. That they do things the right way. They're a company out of Wisconsin that have a 105-year history, and they're just a well-run organization, and they believe in their people. If you look at, I talk to a lot of franchisees, a lot of people that work in their office in Kenosha, and one thing's for sure, there's a lot of longevity there. There's guys that are 10, 20, 30, 40 years, even longer, that have been franchisees or somehow affiliated with Snap-on. So they're a great company to work for, even if it's unlike what my relationship is, which is sponsorship. They have a long-term employment. They give back. They do. With the military, they give back the breast cancer awareness. They have a great cause, and so they're they're very much a great company. And really, for me, as an owner, and I've had my struggles on the track. They stick with me. They know that we work hard. We're doing all we can. I'm probably, if you want to criticize me for anything, I'm definitely impatient and I want to win. I've had a winning history my whole career. Heck, you've got to remember, I won my championship in my rookie year as a driver at 27 years old. So, anything less than that's a pretty tough pill. But, I think I've grown as an owner and gotten better. I don't always have the answers. No owner does. But to have a sponsor stick with you like that, I think we're going on our 15th year as his primary, and then probably another 15 as an associate when they were on our cars, the McDonald's cars of the 90s. It's really a credit to them, and lucky me that that they've been on board with us.
It's been a great relationship for you and for NHRA drag racing. Alan does say, though, that he tried to get a deal from his Snap-on dealer today because you won, and the Snap-on dealer said no freebies. So
no freebies, yeah. Hey, they've got a great exchange program. I tell the story all the time. They have, if you break it, they replace it. We used to grind on screwdrivers and bend them and make pry bars out of them, and we'd have the nerve, or Stephen A. Smith says, the unmitigating gall, the temerity to go hand them this bent up screwdriver and then have them look us and say, "Can you guys replace this?" And normally they would, but nowadays they have purpose-built pry bars and all that kind of stuff. So you don't have to use a screwdriver.
Well, Cruz, it's been good to have you. One last question before we let you go.
Yeah.
The NHRA is going into some uncharted territory in 2026. New tracks, schedule looks very different. What are your thoughts on 2026? You're no stranger to seeing the NHRA schedule change.
Love it. Love it. New markets, Delaware. I don't even know where that place is. I'd have to Google map it. But I love that we're going there. Northeast is a great race place, and I'm sure it's going to be a great event. Down there in Georgia, I've raced there. I believe it's called Valdosta. We tested there, probably 6-7 years ago. A lot of history, a lot of fans down in Atlanta area. So I'm glad to see we have some friends down there that come up. They're actually going to come up to Charlotte that are good friends of ours. So yeah, I think it's going to be a great venue. I think there's another one to be announced, but I think to mix it up a little bit. And we lost the Atlanta Commerce race, so I think to replace that, we lost Englishtown in the Northeast years ago. So I think NHRA is continually working on different markets. Luckily, our sponsors, Snap-on, has companies or these franchisees and dealership network throughout the United States. So the fact that we can go to some newer places, makes it good for everyone business-wise as well.
Yes, sir. Well, Cruz, once again, congratulations. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to seeing you down the road.
Man, I appreciate your guys' knowledge. You guys do your homework. Thanks for having me on, man. And we're going to try to keep this train rolling.
Indeed.
Spectacular. Take care,
right,
Cruz.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Always good to see Cruz in victory lane. He has been getting it done for a long time out there in NHRA drag racing. And I don't think if they hit the combination right, championships could be out there still. And he would be an interesting champion of this day because he would be that guy that stopped John that one time.
Yeah.
He would be that guy that then gets a championship in a kind of a different era, if you will. And then now we are that much further from that last one. And I think he could do it. He could be that, if I may put it this way, kind of Terry Labonte-esque, but in the NHRA drag racing world of Fuel Funny Car.
Yeah, I can see that. Especially with the way things have played out here. And, we look at Austin Prock and what happened to them, but that's kind of been something we've seen this season. You know what I mean? The track has bit them at times. And, when you make that kind of horsepower, you're on the thin line of love and hate. And sometimes hate rises. And with the track temperatures the way they are, you're not really – right now we're not seeing any stellar extra cool temperatures that play into those guys' hands. It's going to be all about who's got a consistent tune-up that can manage, a fairly warm racetrack. So, when you come out here and you do what you did in Reading, it's nothing but the best. It's kind of like a wild card team, who's coming in and they finish the season winning games, and you have to face them in the first round of the wild card. You really don't want to see that team because they got there, they took the last wild card spot, and they were hot coming in. They're the worst type of team to have to go up against. So I think you talk about the full wide format. Look, man, it throws a whole new monkey wrench in. All you got to do is go A to B in round one and round two so you can be in the final. You ain't got to finish first. You just got to get to the finish line, one of the two. And then it's ball game after that. So I think, to me, like I said before, that's the strategy. Get myself in the final. Hey, if I don't make it, don't win, don't not runner up, fine. But I at least have kept the pace with everyone else. And who knows, those at the top could very well be gone in first quad.
Yes. Cannot wait for – look, here we are now. We got to get Shawn on. He's in the green room. We're going to get you on here in just a moment, Shawn. Just hang on. But, we are dreaming over qualifying. Like, it matters that much, going into this weekend, and what quad is it going to be? Not just pairs, but what quad is going to have this car and that car, and then qualifying can be so chaotic because it's really a situation now that if you make it into one of these fields, you have an opportunity.
Yeah,
it's just that case in that situation, especially in the four wides. So,
isn't it crazy? He's the only driver left from the 90s. 90s,
with John being out.
Exactly.
Yep.
I'm I'm McDonald's Cruz Pedregon.
Oh, absolutely.
That's where I'm from.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, I can remember Southern Nationals, Atlanta Dragway, Commerce, Georgia, eating McDonald's fries in the stands because McDonald's had a concession stand set up at the Southern Nationals, watching the McDonald's cars, and in particular Cruz Pedregon. It was a great time.
It was.
Sure. Well, if you in your program expect to have a great time and land in victory lane, such as Cruz Pedregon and Shawn Reed did, you need to have Redline synthetic oil in your motor. This word from Redline, and then we're going to talk to the top fuel champion there from Maple Grove.
Reliability to drive thousands of miles. Confidence for those who fly high. Redline oil products give you the power to crush the competition and a track record of being the best. Redline oil products. You push it to the limit, we'll protect it.
Shawn Reed, welcome once again to the Competition Plus Power Hour. Dude, you had it all wrote out, didn't you? Wreck in Seattle, lose a finger, come back, win 2 races. It was all just, you planned it, right?
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, they my press conference the other day, they're like, hey, you lose a finger, win 2 races. What's next? I said, hey, take another one. Let's go to Charlotte.
I will say,
Yeah.
it was, dude, it was hilarious, and I felt so bad for you. Rob Windland pulled one on you there in Victory Lane at Columbus, and he's like, "Everybody, put up your index finger."
So bad.
They've been getting me the whole time. I mean, in Columbus, we were all standing around, and one of my crew guys is going, "Hey man, you got something up there, man? You got something up there?" And I'm like, and so I reach up there. It's on this side, I reach up there and I put my middle finger in my eyeball, my thumb in my mouth. I mean, my brain still thinks I've got that finger. By the way,
Right.
They all know.
Yep.
Right.
Man.
Yeah.
Man. Well, Rob, look, Shawn, before we dive in particular on, last week's win and the weekend before last, Rob shared and made mention that you've got a win on the boat or in the boat this year too. So there's been a lot of winning this year.
Well, yeah. Well, I won the #1 qualifier and I didn't really win the race, but in the boat. But it's really crazy to me. This last week, it's like, I drove down to Charlotte from Reading, last night and today, and I'm just like, people are driving by me on the, they're looking up. I'm like, yeah, man, I'm Shawn Reed, bro. I mean, it's crazy nuts to think about what just happened to me the last few weeks from being in Brainerd and Indy with Jordan driving and me not even being able to touch my fingers and then a hard week of PT and then going to Columbus to make sure I could even drive and then on to Reading, and it's just storybook for me. It's just like something they can nobody can never take it away, and it's just if it ends right now, it's just cool as heck for me.
And this starts way back because I met Shawn when the whole Bob Vandergrift deal was supposed to happen. I still have pictures of that, by the way, of us standing on the starting line with Nicole at that time, and to see all this come together, and especially after all you have been through, you go to the NHRA event to see if you can drive the car, and not only can you drive the car, not only do you have some of the 2 best tuners on the planet to get you round by round, you go and get yourself an Ironman. That is huge and had to be really huge for your confidence and your team's confidence as well. Yes.
Right here, baby.
Yes. So awesome.
Yeah, that really is what started it, to tell you the truth. I mean, it's man, I mean, going rounds builds confidence. Winning back-to-back races like we did, I mean, it builds confidence and character. I'm telling you what, these guys got a little like swagger to them, and it's pretty cool to see. We've had our fair share of close races. I mean, Langdon beat me 5 times last year by probably a total of 1 car length. And then I almost blew it again, tell you the truth. I mean, I got so amped up to beat him. I mean, I forgot to, I left just because I heard his motor, thank God he smoked the tires, but just terrible light against Langdon. I gotta work on not thinking is what I gotta do. I do better when I don't think.
Well, give us the breakdown of Columbus. Like, we know that you all went there to figure out whether you were good to get in the car. What were the contingencies? Let's say you weren't able to be in the car. Were you going to plug someone in even that weekend or just pack up? I mean, how did it all work out for you to figure out I can do this and I can be comfortable at it?
Yeah. No, we would have just, packed up and went home, and I would have called Jordan and said, "You're back in Reading." That's really what would have happened.
When did you know you were good? Like, what moment? Was it warm up? Was it after burnout? Like, when did you I'm good, man?
No, I was scared. I was scared poopless, bro. I tell you that right now. I mean, the whole time for 7 weeks, I'm like, I want to be, man, people ask me, you gonna be thinking about the wreck? No, man, I'm good. It's just one in a million. I'm tough. I mean, I'm a racer. I'm a pro. Uh, I don't worry about that stuff. And um, they towed me to the line, and they started that engine, and I'm just like, what the heck am I doing, man? This is crazy. And then went through the burnout, backed up, and I got to admit, man, I went to about 750 feet, and I just closed my eyes, and I said, man, I just hope that parachute comes out before the tire blows up, So it really took me it really took me that weekend. I was still thinking about 3 or 4 laps in, about the end of that track, about what happened to me. And I didn't think, when I showed up there, I didn't think I'd think about it once. And I thought about it every time I got in that car.
The new steering wheel. I thought it was a pretty cool idea when JR, put it in his car. How's it working for you, and how did you get to kind of know about it?
Wendland says, "Hey, I put a new steering wheel in your car, and you're gonna like it." That's kind of how Wendland rolls, right? Yeah, he goes, "I put a new steering wheel in your car, and you're gonna like it." And I've learned since we've put that wheel in our car. I mean, Dan Mercier has put one in his car. I think Spencer Hyde has put one in his car. So I mean, I think it's that butterfly wheel is. I mean, if you hit the wall, it's a flying knife, and I mean, literally, it's a flying knife, and it took mine, and you just got to hit just right. I mean, if you got wheel in it, the wrong way, and it hits the right way, and it spins that, and it turns that wheel, that whole butterfly wheel, or any wheel, is going to turn two revolutions, and that's what blew my finger up. So yeah, I mean, it's yeah, I think it's a good deal. I think if I would have had that wheel, I might have hurt a little bit, but I probably would still have a finger. So yeah, I think it's a good idea. I think it's a good idea. Yeah. And as far as driving with it, it's a little bit to get used to, but it really, I mean, I still don't got a full grip here, so it fits my hand really good, and the way my hands fit down inside it and on top of it, I mean, it's really pretty easy to steer. Now it's a little bit smaller, so I think maybe it you got to turn it maybe a little bit farther than a butterfly wheel to turn the same amount. But I only notice that when I'm driving in, and like coming under the tunnel and making a right turn to try to like Maple Grove. That was a real bazooki, because it almost comes back at like 40 degrees, right? You come down the staging lanes, and then you got to jackknife like 3 or 4 times to get in position. So that's a lot of turning that little wheel. It's a little bit smaller, but it feels pretty good. I mean, I'm pretty impressed. I don't think I'll ever go back. I mean, I will pretty much bet on it. I will never go back.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Andrew Osterhaus asked, watching from the outside, did you learn anything, or was it just gut wrenching the whole time?
You mean outside? You mean just from watching Jordan drive my car?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned not to get in no more wrecks, because that sucked. But all seriousness, I mean, it is different standing on the starting line watching somebody else drive your car, but it's I've said it a lot. It's like I hope one day that's what the reality is. I mean, I hope I can make a I hope I can make a business out of this thing, and it takes it took a lot of hard work for me to make a business out of building roads, and I hope I can continue to drive while I have the business to pay for it, and I hope I can continue to get partners and sponsors, that when I step away, I can help bring, some of the younger people up and give them, the dream, long before 60 that I didn't have. I mean, I would have loved to have been doing this stuff when I was 30, but yeah, it just wasn't in the cards at that time. So, I hope I can be in the business and bring other people up is what I hope for.
Yeah, it has, like I said, it has to be rewarding after the process that you've had to go to get to this point. Tell me a little bit, and tell the fans a little bit about. I mean, I know about Ryan Elliott and the guys, but tell us a little bit about your team and how well they have progressed during this process.
I mean, it's it's really pretty cool. I mean, Ryan Elliott, man. I mean, man, love the guy. Money spender. Boy, he's a money spender. But he buys all the right parts, and Rob's not too far behind him. And but as much as they like to spend money, they really do have my back, and they don't want to spend it frivolously, and they want to spend on the right stuff. And we have all the right stuff, but we do not have an abundance of the right stuff. We have means to, Ryan texts me up and says, "Hey man, we need this, and that, and that." And I'm like, "Okay, no problem." And then my next text is, "How much?" And he's like, 42,000. I'm like, "Whoa, I thought you were talking like 4,200." We find a way to get it done, man. And I wouldn't have, I mean, I've taken every type of racing I've ever done seriously, and it's not going to stop now. I mean, if I can't get the parts and pieces to run against the Langdons and the Clittas and the Antrons and the Doug Clittas, I mean, I'm telling you this, I won't do it. I'll stop, because I don't do this to I don't do this to go out and make a bunch of friends. I do this to win championships, and that's really what it's all about. And if I get to make a lot of friends, during the process, we'll giddy up. Good for me. And I've got a lot of friends out there, and I really didn't know how many I had until my wreck. And I seem to have a lot of people that care and want to see us do well, and it's quite humbling to me, and it's pretty dang cool, to tell you the truth.
Well, speaking of winning championships, going into this 4-wide event at the ZMAX Dragway, momentum is still on your side, and that's got to feel good going into what will be a short field in a challenging format.
Yeah, it's I think it's the first year ever that there's going to be a 4-wide in the countdown, and the 4-wides don't bother me. They've never really bothered me. It's still, pre-stage and stage. And, if you just get in there, and, you don't got to worry about being timed out, and, go on yellow. So, I'm not really worried about that, but, momentum is good. I like momentum. I mean, it's setting you up for a letdown, but it's also setting you up for just going nuts, man. I mean, we can go out there and lose first round. Yeah, we can. But we also can go out there and win another race. And, that's scary. That's scary, because if we can do that, holy heck. I mean, we're talking about, 60-year-old dumb guy that bought all this stuff at 57 years old, maybe winning a championship. But, first things first, man. I mean, I'm just living the moment, and I think it's cool. I mean, when I got into Top Fuel, all I wanted to do was, run 2 or 3 races. And then, you want to run 5 or 6, then you want to run a half a season, then you want to run full time. And then I end up buying my team and funding the whole thing. And it's just crazy how it's all just came along. And it's just, I wish I would have started 30 years ago.
So I found the short field being interesting, and my thought process was it's not easy to go out there and, of course, set yourself up. But there's going to be a round where there's going to be two dragsters that go down the racetrack, and they're going to advance regardless. If I'm a strategist, I try to shoot myself for whatever those two spots would be so that I could put myself at least and know that I'm going to the semifinal round of that 4 wide. Now, obviously, super hard to sit up here and try to throw out a tune-up that's going to get you in that spot. But boy, oh boy, that would be something. And then to maybe fall in those spots and then find out that the top 4 guys are running each other in first round.
Well,
boy, that would be special.
Well, you know what? I mean, of course, that's going to be 1, 8, 9. I mean, 1, 8, 9 is going to be a first round. Because that's 1 and 16, and it's going to be 2 and 15, and 15's not there, so it's going to be 2 and whoever the other guys, maybe 4 or 7 and 6 or something like that. But
right.
yeah, I mean, you could try that. But going back to Reading, when I ended up number 4, and I looked at that ladder and I said, man, if we won this race, we're gonna move up a bunch because all them big guys are down at the bottom, and I'm like, that looks pretty good for a win to me. And I didn't say nothing to anybody, but I thought to myself,
Yeah.
I just stayed to myself on that kind of stuff. But yeah, there very well could be a lot of big names in the same grouping come Sunday.
Looks like it's 2, 7, and 10.
2, 7, and 10, and 1, 8, and 9 will be 2 cars advance, 1 don't.
Yep.
I mean, right now, looking at it, you're tied for 5th with Clay Milliken, 67 points out from the top.
Crazy.
Yeah, right.
How you can go from 10 to tied for 5th. Just nuts.
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
I had a somebody reminded me of this, but I had a interview with Susan Wade back in Indy, and I said, well, I think if I can get back in the car by Reading, which I'm hoping for, I think I'm going to go there and win it. And somebody reminded me of that in my press conference, and I'm like, well, I don't remember saying that. I mean, I'm usually not that cocky, but I guess I just, I don't know if it's cocky or confidence or wishing. I don't know which one it is, but yeah, I mean, it's crazy how I even said that back in Indianapolis.
I don't think it's crazy. You have a legendary crew chief and Rob Wendland. You have one of the premier guys coming up through the ranks, and Ryan Elliott. I think he's going to be a crew chief one day. He always tells me no, but that cat is smart. He's
pretty humble. He's one of the most easiest guys to get along with, and then you go right down the list. Tuna. You got Davey on the clutch. You got Shawn on the short blocks and heads. You got Gabe on the blower, and he's learned everything. He's learned everything from Chris over at AB, and Eric Granado on doing the heads. I mean, we got a bunch of really good guys, and I'll go on record right now. I hope every single one of them stays this year. I hope every single one of them stays. I would love to not have any turnover, and I would welcome everybody that's on my team back with open arms.
There you go. Well, you got the momentum going into ZMAX. The only thing you're looking for now is a financial spending plan for Ryan Elliott. Beyond that, you're good to go.
Yeah, it's I think we got everything. I think we got everything we need to get to the end of the year. But Ryan is funny. He says, well, we probably don't got everything we need to the end of the year if you keep going 8 rounds every weekend. So I'm like, hey, I'll find it.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Very good. Shawn, look, it's been good to see your story unfold this way. This has been, I know it's great for you, but it's good for the sport. It's good for so many around it. It's just so good to see obviously you not go through the wreck, but to go through it and it injure you, and yet you come away with back-to-back wins, do some history, first time since 1999, and Doug Herbert, spectacular, man. Congratulations.
Man, I really appreciate it. It's been it's been a dream, man. I mean, it's like, that it's just been a dream. I'm still not even got my voice back from that wreck, and it's been hard and difficult, and but I love racing, and I love competing, and I love my team, and I love everything about it, man. I can't wait for Friday till I can stand on that gas pedal again, So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be epic, and I hope that we get some more cars out here next year, and I know Leah's coming back, and Tony might be in somewhere else. He might be driving pro stock. He might be driving fuel. He might be just flying around in a plane doing something. But I'm looking forward to what's coming next year. Not to step on this year at all, but I got one or two more good years in me, and I'm gonna keep going, man. I love it.
Well, Shawn, keep loving it, and we'll keep loving your story. Thank you for your time, man.
I appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me on again.
Yes, sir. Man, just been so good to watch that story unfold with Shawn, and they get that win earlier this year at the Pro Superstar Shootout, the testing / race that is down there at Bradenton, and we see them perform but not pick up that Wally. And then there is that horrific incident in Kent, Washington, there at Pacific Raceways, and you're just like, man, the guy can't catch a break. But in that tough situation, the team, Rob Wendland, Ryan Elliott, everyone else involved, they dug down and did something, found something, put it all together, and the stars aligned. And here we are. We got back-to-back wins, and he is sitting fifth, sixth, but tied with Clay Milliken in fifth in points. Just 67, I think, points from the top, and what a remarkable story.
Yeah, it really has been. It is absolutely impressive, the team that he formed. I knew when those guys were going to go over there. I knew that they had everything that they needed to do. It was just a matter of finding the level of consistency for the car. That really was all it was. Shawn is perfectly capable of doing what he's doing. I think that they've been on the verge of breaking through. And again, another time where what a perfect time to like break through and start winning and starting to get the momentum that you need to put together a championship run. Dave said it too in his top end interview with him at the NHRA race. You just once you start feeling like, once a team starts feeling like they know that they belong and that they can get it done. I'll use the Washington Commanders for that type of an example. They didn't have a defense that really was capable of doing what they did. But they started to believe in what they were doing. They started to buy into what they were doing. They gained confidence in what they're doing. You see it right after that race. Dave was saying that you could just see the confidence in them. And man, you come back and you come out here and you win the first race of the countdown. You find yourself tied for fifth within the countdown. Yeah, the sky's the limit. And when you got a team like that, man, that's kind of on the up and up, and they got a little bit of swagger, like he said, that's a dangerous team. And again, the weather conditions really play in to teams of that magnitude. Not saying they can't go out and try and lay up and give yourself a stout run, but it really plays into their hands because they've already got that level of hot weather consistent tune-up already down pat.
Well, Ryan Elliott may need to call Competition Products and get the products that he needs for that top fuel operation. A word very quickly from Competition Products here on Competition Plus, and we'll get back talking drag racing right after this break along with you. Get in the comment section.
Competition Products, your source for hardcore engine parts for street, strip, and oval track. Our free catalog is packed with hundreds of product lines from the best-known manufacturers in the performance industry. Lowest prices guaranteed. Free shipping and handling on all orders over $149 in the continental U.S. Need expert advice? Our knowledgeable staff is just a phone call away. Competition Products, race parts sold by racers since 1970.
I found that picture. I don't know if you guys can see it or not. But that is me in the middle. That's Nicole on the left. And that's Shawn right there on the right. Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
2019.
2019. Man, it feels like it was forever ago.
Yeah.
Wow. You were clean shaven then.
Yeah, I was. It looked a lot younger. This weekend packed. Drag racing is happening right now, Dujanay. I mean, Hot Rod Drag Week is underway. The Dragon Drive, the granddaddy of them all, concerning the Dragon Drive events. We've got the OG Million taking place out there at the racetrack formerly known as Gateway Worldwide Technology Raceways in Madison, Illinois. And we have this weekend Funny Car Chaos. They're going to be paying their first ever visit to West Lebanon Dragway there in the state of New York for the East Coast rendition of Funny Car Chaos. It's an exhibition race, not a points race. We've got the huge event, first time ever, 4 wide in the countdown for the NHRA Mission Foods Series there at ZMAX Dragway. We're going to be having a lot of great things to talk about next week, but there's so much more to talk about concerning what transpired at Maple Grove. I think we witnessed one of the great NHRA national events, an event that we will talk about for a very long time to come from Maple Grove. And it has a history of doing that. A lot of moments that stand out. Dujanay, what is a top moment apart from our winners that stands out to you? So this one goes back a long ways. This one goes back to when I was a kid in like first grade. It was my first drag race. Really I had never seen these cars before. And I remember it being a big deal that Don Perdome had gone 517. And he put it together again, I believe, in qualifying. And I knew it was a big deal because I knew that that wasn't something that had been done very much. And that's a moment that stands out for me, being right there, being right there to watch it, me and my brother, to see that was pretty awesome. A lot of cool memories as a young kid being there, but that's one that stands out to me.
First time I ever got to the line with a fuel car was Maple Grove. So kind of had to sneak around, didn't have any credentials, cut some red tape, and take my camcorder along with me and do some filming at the time for the New Englander Nitro Funny Car. Got it done. And if you ever want to make it to the line, Maple Grove, at least at one time, was kind of lax on security. Might not be the case now with NHRA security there. They didn't quite have NHRA security like they do now.
Yeah.
But got to the line, did some filming, and got to experience it. As Ed Wolf told me, just act like you own this blank blank and you will be fine. And that's what I did. I acted like I owned the thing. So Maple Grove, great moments. This past weekend, though, Dujanay, the winners, great storylines there. We just talked with Cruz, just talked with Shawn Reed. You have Mr. Hall picking up a win. You've got Mr. Glenn picking up a win. And, pro stock, I feel well, before we dive in per class, I think one of the shocking moments, I think it gets overlooked, honestly. Antron Brown out round 1.
Oh, yeah.
That, with everything else that went on, yes, those are highlights. So, Hagan, we can talk about that. We obviously can talk about, Tony, Doug. But Antron out round 1, oof.
He's been free falling for a while too, man. Like this has been, he had the thing in Sonoma. They were free falling a little bit after Epping. They went out 3 consecutive first rounds. He goes to Seattle, goes past Clay. Probably when Clay was probably having again another good weekend. Got bit by Antron. Goes out. Brittany puts him out in the second round. He wins Sonoma, or he goes to the semis, or goes to the final round of Sonoma, is runner-up in Sonoma, and then goes 2 consecutive first rounds, and including Reading, a 3rd consecutive first round again. So does that mean that he starts to pick up rounds? It seems like his best part of the season was 1, to Charlotte. Gainesville to Charlotte 1 was his best time, and he's had some flashes of brilliance, but they've been kind of free falling for a while now.
I agree. And, I'm not willing to put do or done line right now, but their ZMAX has to be spectacular.
Yeah. Well, I did that. We did that on the Not Bland show. After one race, my do or done line is between Shawn Reed and Brittany Force. And my reasoning
that's a good place to start, honestly, because everybody behind that, they need to go out there and they need to be runner up. They need to win to really change the narrative now.
Yeah. They just haven't done anything. They've looked good in qualifying. They've shown you, they've put on a show when it doesn't matter, but when it matters, they end up going out early. And so that's where my do or done line is there.
Matt Hagan with some very strong thoughts after his incident. He then goes on to make a social media post, not retracting anything, but just clarifying. And I feel like at this point right now, Matt's kind of being the top guy in Funny Car. And I don't mean necessarily performance-wise, but he's being the voice.
Yeah.
And he's being that advocate. And he has been outspoken for a long time now concerning the tether issue. And we talked about it earlier with Cruz. He's another one. There's nobody that I know associated with Funny Cars that wants these tethers. They want fans to be safe, but they do not want what they have right now as a rules package.
Right. And I've said this from the beginning. You know what I mean? This is not something that I have shied away from either. I mentioned it when Matt mentioned it the first time, and that's what the issue was. First of all, I really don't understand why we haven't come to some type of resolution to try something different after the godfather, the still face of the NHRA, John Force, had his accident, and what happened and transpired after that. We didn't get our farewell tour because of it. So now, because of that, what are we going to do? We're going to wait. Your ego is that much in the way that you're going to wait for somebody to die? Because you know what? Let's be real. Buddy Hall could not be here right now. At the rate of speed that he was going, unable to steer the race car, and darn near runs into the safety safari. I don't blame them. They were trying to get to the man. They didn't realize that all of a sudden his car was just going to go right back. They didn't know he didn't have any type of steering at all. You know what I mean? How many people? Somebody's got to, what do we got to do? Like, somebody's got to, roast in there? I mean, like Cruz said, there's nowhere for the fire to go. If that thing collapsed down on you, now the fire is kept under that body, is being shot back towards you. What are we doing? We're roasting a guy. Like, I just don't understand. I don't understand why we won't. And we have smart people that have come up with stuff to say, hey, let's see if we can try this. Third of all, we don't have enough data to say, well, Buddy went to the stands. We don't want that. It happened one time.
There's only two I can think of. You got St. Louis
And
with
Charlotte.
Robert Height, and then you got Z-Max.
Yep.
Where it landed on the
That was the
spectator side, non-pit side.
Yep.
That's the only two I can think about.
Yep. That's it.
And
And
in
I'm
fact, there's been more issues of fans being struck by shrapnel from top fuel dragsters, whether it was Leah's injector hat, Shawn's incident, whatever.
Yeah.
There's been more with that. Maybe we need more tethers on top fuel dragsters instead of funny car bodies.
Yeah. I just, you got to come with something better. And again, Dave made the same comment also on the Not Bland show earlier. And it's, okay, well, why we got all these daggone safety devices that's supposed to deploy parachutes, and why is it not happening? What's going on there? Why is it not happening? Because we got ladies and gentlemen that are going 300 miles an hour through the traps and can't slow this thing down. If it sometimes more.
Yep.
Could you imagine that 340 miles an hour and that thing go boom and you can't stop it? It's going through the net.
Right. The first line of safety, if you will, in a drag car really it's the parachute.
Yep.
It's going to slow you down. It's going to straighten you out. The parachutes are so vital in the safety aspect of the sport. And yeah, we've seen so many incidents now of they're not deploying, or, Buddy, he couldn't steer and the firewall comes back in on him, damages his hand. He's still not in the car.
Yeah.
At this point, what funny car driver has not spoke out about it? It seems like if they haven't, they just really haven't had a big boomer here lately. And Matt has spoke out about it. Daniel Wilkerson has spoke out about it. Tim Wilkerson on the former driver side and crewing the car has spoke out about it. Again, I know nobody associated with funny car racing that thinks it is an idea to continue to move forward with. So, like I asked Cruz, what is the holdup?
Ego.
It has to, honestly, at this point, NHRA, whoever you are, and we know you listen. Why aren't you listening to your drivers? Why aren't you listening to your teams? Why aren't you listening to the people in the ranks of funny car that build them, that construct them, that drive them, that own them, that tune them? And why not hear of those that have been injured? And it correlates to this. If the issue is body getting into stands, then move people. Move a fence line. Move where they're sitting. I understand drivers take upon them risk, but for a body that has founded itself upon the principles of creating a safe place to race, this is a failure at this point. And it's a choice, it seems like. You can change rules in the middle of the season. You do it all the time for Pro Mod and Factory Stock and other categories. Make a rule change with the cars that are funny car, in particular with the tethers and these bodies. So whoever in tech, whoever on SFI boards, whoever it is, talk to the smart people who know, talk to the smart people who will help figure you out and get it done.
Yeah, that's my whole thing too. I don't understand how you're telling people who work on these and who build these that, yeah, we hear you, but no, that's selfish. And then we're boo-hooing, and you want to walk up to somebody and give your condolences when you had plenty of opportunity to not let this happen, because that's what it basically seems like. That's what it's going to come down to. And to me, it's kind of disrespectful, because you mean to tell me that what happened to John Force wasn't enough? That wasn't enough to say, hey, let's try something else. And it's not like people are griping and coming to you bitching about anything. They actually have solutions. They have solutions.
They do. They do.
And you're like, yeah, nah. Yeah, I my thing is, if it's that, if you don't care that much, then my question to you is, you're telling me that you're okay with your son or daughter being in one of those cars and having that happen to them, and them maybe likely not make it, or God forbid have same type of brain injury, and maybe they don't ever come out of that at all. You're okay with that?
I don't. And look, at this point, maybe it's not a rule change right away, but like, it seems like there's not even a discussion.
No.
That's what's the problem. Like, talk to the people. And I guess the teams, the tuners, the drivers, I guess they just need to corner some NHRA people and be like, we're not leaving this room. You're not. Until we get some dialogue here. It's going on too long. It's gone on too long.
Way too long.
Figure it out. And again, the drivers don't want fans not to be safe, but the drivers want to be safe in a situation when now, with these bodies staying on them, they can't see, they can't drive. I mean, again, let's go back to Buddy. Buddy could not see, Buddy could not steer, Buddy could not reach for a lever of any to shut the fuel off, or so he is truly along for the ride.
That ain't a ride I want to be along for.
No,
not at that rate of speed. Very, very fortunate that his car was able to scrub off some speed a little bit and be able to stop. But like I said, just think if the mile an hour is higher than that, and it goes through, it blows up at 1,000 feet, where we're doing 335.
Well, then, or imagine if it was Pomona.
Oh yeah. What if it blows up and the throttle gets stuck? In the case of,
Yeah, no, I mean, again, they've got to work on this.
Yeah,
they got to work on
this.
It's
not good, and I don't know. I don't think they think far ahead. You do not want to have somebody's life on your hands.
Look, you've got someone like Matt Hagan saying, you know what, maybe I just need to get out of these cars.
Mm-hmm.
You got someone with a big following, bringing in partners like Dodge, and they're like, maybe I just need to get out of these things.
Yeah.
When a race car driver feels that they're not safe,
it ain't safe.
It's not safe, because they just have a different mind on things anyway.
Right. Yeah. I had no problem with that, and I'm glad that he do that. It's cool that he explained himself, because I understand the climate that we live in, but I felt like there was no explanation. It's clear. And
it wasn't needed, but to his credit, doing that, it just furthered the conversation.
Yes, it did. I agree
and
with
it
that.
made it to where if you didn't see what I said, go find it.
Mm-hmm.
And it just doubled down on what was said. So, yeah, I think that was not necessarily needed, but I think it was wise. It was a wise move. Yep. And as Memphis Lonnie mentions, the TSR bunch had a rough weekend for the whole team. Wow, Doug Coletta, in a wild moment, something in the front end, whether tire, wheel, A-arm failing, and he can't bring it back. It's just driving over, and Tony's got nowhere to go. He can't see it. It's all at speed. It's at the 1,000-foot mark. They're going through the traps. They're trying to get chutes, and wallop.
That was crazy.
Yes.
He's very fortunate. The car just jumps on his side, bounces up, and then comes right back on its side and just kind of rides the wall. I mean, that could have been a hell of a lot worse than what it was. But what's wild is when he gets out, when they speak to him at the top end, he remembers none of it.
Yes.
And I'm like, this man is concussed.
Well,
badly.
He said, they woke me up. So he was knocked out. And you then again have to ask yourself, with head and neck restraint systems, with chin straps, with the restraints that they have, with the padding that they have, why did he get knocked out? What made this impact different from what the cars are set up to impact-wise to cause Tony to be knocked out? Like, I wonder if, like, he was completely G-loaded because he was under deceleration and boom, took another hit.
Yeah.
Or is it being under deceleration and fully G-loaded, then you take a hit and, he pop back? Because the padding's designed for you to be almost like resting on it or in it already, not, traveling into it a long way. So there are some things to look at in Tony's incident, safety-wise, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it was a side impact, and I can see the car coming up and kind of slamming on its tire and then bouncing back up and kind of smacking the wall, being a part of it. But, yeah, it's a lot of padding, top, bottom, top, and side, that it's not much travel room, you know what I mean? But
yes, and by design.
But if it's not much travel room with the impact, your brain is still it's going to move. If your head's not moving with that force, when you hit, your brain is going to hit your skull. It's going to move. So I could see that being a part of it because of the speed and the force in which it hit the ground, pops back up and hits the wall. Probably is part of it. You know, I mean, it's kind of like almost going at that rate of speed and coming to an instant stop. Like your brain is gonna hit your skull. You know what I mean? Like it's it's kind of why guys get knocked out, playing football. Both are going at pretty good rate of speed. These guys are running sometimes 20 miles an hour, and you hit somebody and you come to an instant stop. Yeah. Your brain is still traveling forward. So I could see that. But yeah, that is interesting that he had no idea what had happened.
Right. Especially, we've had other incidences where drivers have got out and they don't mention that. They don't, I can think like, man, Steve Torrance, that hard impact he took all the way, back at the Texas Motorplex, and everybody's different and not every impact's the same, but yeah, you got to wonder what was possibly different about this one. And yet Doug out of it seems fine. Yeah.
Good question from Drag Race Mayhem too. Like, I'm wondering that too. Like, if this is a concussion, I don't know what the protocol is in the NHRA when it comes down to concussions, but does he get cleared? And if he does get cleared, I'd like to know how they go about clearing someone from that, because it's pretty a rigorous, process when you go into concussion protocol in order to be able to come out of that to be able to play, especially if you suffered that on Monday night or Sunday, and then you got a game next Sunday, you got to be able to clear that.
You do, and there is a process. We've had Dr. Surface for the NHRA on this show, and we have talked about the process, but I will say this, in motorsports, it's not as, I feel that, and I believe that it is nowhere near as rigorous as the NFL, with how the NFL has been targeted with the CTE issues. And granted, these guys are making contact routinely and regularly, but there is a different stigma. If anybody wants to understand kind of the stigma in motorsports, read Dale Jr.'s book on his retirement. It is enlightening on what he went through and how bad his brain was scrambled. and how concussed he was. I didn't know being concussed could go this far. And if you dive into Dale Jr.'s book, you'll get a great idea of, oh, wow, you know what? There's a lot of people, and I'm not saying this is the case with Tony and coming up this week and everything of that nature. Yeah, I'm not saying that. But there's a lot of people that will, grit their teeth and they will stay in a car because they don't want to lose a ride or they got obligations or whatever it is. And in the motorsports world, the protocols are not and do not appear to be as rigorous as what the NFL has. So we'll see what happens coming up. And, I certainly hope that, he will consider his health and where he's at and his everything of that nature, and not just hopping the ride to be in the ride and to fulfill commitments and, those type of things. Take care of your noggin and everything. And he may be fine.
Yeah,
okay, maybe fine. Because look, Tony, you watch anything in sprint car world, he's been through worse.
Yeah, he's been through way worse.
Yeah, he's been through worse. So
that man's been through way worse.
Yeah, but it is it's something that we definitely got to think about, and the race car driver can be their own worst enemy many times. I mean, man, I can remember back watching NASCAR early 90s, guys racing in flak jackets and guys racing, with special, wrists and bracing and just weird thing, there's times guys probably should have never been in a car. I think of some very tough customers like, Davey Allison. I think of, there's times Earnhardt probably shouldn't have been in a car, and so on. And Dale Jr. goes through that. He's like, there's times I should not have been in that car, but I was in that car and I didn't want anybody to fill that seat. It was my seat. I was a racer. I'm racing. So we'll see what happens, and I think it would behoove the NHRA, with Tony being so candid, and I'm glad he was.
Yeah.
But with him being so candid, you make it clear that he's clear.
I think that would be the smart thing to do, because he was open about it, and I do like the fact that he was, because not too often do you really know exactly what the driver had went through in that particular instant. You get the thumbs up, and they talk to people at the far end, and you think everything's okay. I mean, look, John spoke to people at the far end. You know what I mean? It's just, you just never know. You know what I mean? And he was straight up. He was like, "Yeah, I don't know what happened right there." Next thing I know, they're waking me up. What happened? You tell me what happened.
Right? Yeah, you tell me. Yeah. You tell me. Yeah. Reminds me, a cousin of mine. He raced mini stocks, and he had an incident. This was down at Peach State, which is now Gresham Motorsports Park, or was Gresham Motorsports Park, but was running up toward the front and lost grip, wham, into the wall. This is way before anybody's got safer barriers, and it knocked him out. But his foot rested on the throttle, so he kept riding around the track on the wall. And nobody realized there was really a problem till he finally came to a stop. And he recounts that he wakes up, and there's a EMT individual in the car, and he looks, and the EMT's like, "Don't move your neck." And he's like, "Why? Why shouldn't I? What's going on?" So where am I? What's happening?
Yeah.
Why should I be as concerned as you are? What is going on here? So I'm certain he had look, let me put it out there. You talk to these drivers enough, especially those that are in funny car. They've probably had more concussions than they really want to admit, and you will they know on what kind of weather conditions are like. Yeah, I need to go ahead and take my my headache medicine now before we get to it.
I mean, Cruz said it. He's like, you know, my ears are still ringing and I'm still wiping smoke and dust off and I'm still feeling it.
Right.
I can only imagine what that sounds like. And they are wearing earplugs, by the way. Like, they sit inside your ear, that little cavity there where your, you know, eardrum hole is, and your ears are ringing. That's insane.
Man, it's enough of, you know, like what Scott Farley went through. I mean, man, there's another moment. Huge fire for Scott, just kept blazing too, you know, and concussion, and it's sending you forward, but you're sitting behind a bomb. It is amazing that they can even take it.
I know.
And get out and converse at all. It is really the people getting behind the wheel of a funny car. They are super individuals. It is. Yeah. Some may say insane, and maybe rightfully so, but they are super individuals when you seriously consider that. I mean, it's nitromethane, and it is so volatile. Yeah.
It's wild, man.
It is wild. And therefore, why we are entertained.
Yeah, right. So what did you think of Tony and his comments in reference to Erica's round win? And I do know, you know, they showed that on their Insider when she sat down with them, which I thought was great TV, and I thought it was great for both of them. You know, Tony to ask the question and present it, and I had no problem with her being upset about it either.
Yeah, let's kind of break down both sides. And if you have not seen what we're inferring, it's a clip from the Insider podcast that was live at Maple Grove, and the NHRA took a clip from the live and they posted it, and I've shared it, others have shared it, and man, people are in camps on this.
They are.
And man, it's either Camp Tony, and there's less of those, or your Camp Erica, and I really kind of feel down the middle on it, and I hope I can be kind of impartial and down the middle on it, because I think that's how it really needs to be viewed, unless we're not privy to something. And what I mean by that, if Erica had been given talking points before going onto the show, and that's what she was expecting to talk about, and yet they divert, then maybe that is a bit blindsided. I'll grant her that. I don't know. I would imagine, though, that there were really no talking points. We're going to be live. Come on and talk about drag racing.
Right.
So you got a live show. First of all, it was not live TV. A lot of people are upset. You shouldn't have said that live. It was not live TV. It was on the YouTube channel.
There's a difference.
And I think you could probably watch it on NHRA.tv. I'm not sure, though. But that's not Fox. That's
Actually, it wasn't.
Okay, it was. So just YouTube.
It wasn't.
All right.
Yep.
So just YouTube. And it is, so it's not live TV. It's not on national television. So it's within a drag racing context on the series YouTube channel that you race in. Okay? So folks upset about that. Well, they're there to talk about drag racing. And I think Tony just saw an opportunity. Let's get to the bottom of this. I don't feel that he was making an accusation. He's like, hey, this is what it looked like. Break it down for us. Maybe he could have worded it better. Fine. I also have no problem with Erica getting upset. You know, some people are like, oh, she got flustered, therefore she's showing her cards and she's wrong. I don't know. There's other ways to look at that emotion. She might be tired of being asked this when they didn't take a dive.
Yep.
Okay? And she's mad, like she's got to continually defend herself. Maybe it's that. At the end of the day, what I appreciate is there's actually more middle ground in the conversation than they probably both sides realize. Mm-hmm. Because what it got to was, well, we'd like the NHRA tech department to make a call. and let people on the broadcast or the media know so that it can be relayed to the masses.
Yeah.
And as heated as it might have got, okay, we had a heated conversation, but we got to the bottom of things.
Right. Yeah, I don't have a problem with it at all. I don't have a problem with it at all because I've been on that side of asking you know, it's part of his job. Like, you know, people act like everything is sunshine and rainbows. Look, man, sometimes I got to ask a tough question. Sometimes I got to ask a coach a tough question about a call he did or did not make and why. And this is how it looks. I mean, he asked a tough question. It was being talked about on the internet. And let's be honest, Tony has seen this before. Tony has also had this happen to him before. Y'all remember the little spat at the end of the racetrack with John and Cruz and Tony? Y'all remember that? Yeah, he's had those things happen. So he knows what it looks like. And if people are talking about it, he's like, hey, man, we weren't told anything as media from Tech that everything was good and there was an issue. They obviously couldn't hear that there was something wrong with Double A's car and it was running funny. They're in the booth. It's not really that clear, especially it's more clear for a top fuel car than a pro stock car when you're in the booth. So I thought it was a fair question. And I thought it was a fair reaction and answer. I don't expect anything less from Erica. Why would anybody expect anything less? She's going to defend herself. And if she feels like she's being, you know, questioned or slighted in some way and being accused of something, that's how she's going to react. And I'm okay with that. I'm not on the side of, I never once thought that was the case, because at the end of the day, there's one thing I do know about that team. People can be mad and you can dislike them for the way they present themselves and some of the things that they say and do, or however it is. The bottom line is this. One thing they're not going to do is they're not going to do team orders. That ain't it. I don't know. Aaron Stanfield's not doing that. Jake Coughlin's not doing that. None of those guys over there are taking a dive for the six-pack champ because, we just want to try to set her up and get her up in the points. Well, I'm sure they'd have looked at Ingersoll and the boys and told them to go after themselves. Okay, so I didn't have a problem. I think it's great. It's great for TV. It's great for this sport because I think too often there's things that happen and we just kind of let everybody in the internet world speculate and we get no clarity on it. And then the driver is left fending for themselves. And because you've let it go on this long, media didn't ask anything about it or have an opportunity to put anybody on the spot. This thing lingers on, and we're talking about this through the countdown. It shows up next year, and we're talking about it then. And then the driver just completely gets utterly pissed off because of it. So I think it was great. Both sides got to clear it. And basically, like you said, I think all Tony was saying is if we have an issue like this in this type of situation, then Tech needs to obviously didn't happen to him earlier within that event. It happened right then. It kind of looked suspicious from his vantage point. And the Tech department needs to say, yep, there's no foul play here. This is what happened. Report that. And that way they can get that out there to everyone else. We can get that out there to everyone else. So I think that at the end of the day, that's what Tony was looking for. But at the same time, he was also giving her an opportunity to say, hey, this is what it looked like. That's what we're seeing on the internet. That's what people are saying. What actually happened here?
Right. I think there's more to the middle of this than people realize. And you've just got folks kind of, like Team Erica, Team Tony in this. And I'm like, no, I'm Team Drag Racing. And they got to the bottom of it. And I don't think Tony accused her of anything. He did not say, Erica, you took a dive. He said, it looks like, all right? Mm-hmm. And Erica then explains, no, it's not. Like this, I understand there was people flustered. I understand it was heated, it was emotional, and it should have been.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And if anything, Erica should be thankful Tony brought it up, and here's why. She was able to say, here's what happened.
Exactly.
So if you're out there and you think that they took a dive, no. I can, she's like, I'll show you the picture. I wish they would post it now. Show the picture of that piston, unless it was going to give away something that was proprietary or a speed secret. Man, show it.
Right.
Put it out there.
Yep.
I don't know why people are getting in camps on this. Now, look, maybe Tony could have worded it better. I don't know. Maybe. Erica getting upset, that does not mean guilt.
No.
She's being emotional, and there's nothing wrong with that. And then I look at it from like, okay, so as media, we can only ask pre-approved questions. Well, that don't make any sense.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Now, I will say, I go back to my original point. If there were certain talking points that they were intended to stick to, and then they went really off the rail, that's not the best way to handle it.
Right.
Okay, I'll give you that, but I don't know if that was the case or not.
Right.
You could say, in hindsight, maybe Erica could have owned it some more and been like, Tony, thank you for bringing that up. Let me tell you what happened. Fine, whatever. It's great. But now, to your point, Tony does know what it looks like, because it has gone in his favor and it has gone against him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Look, after that incident you're referring to where there was the big hullabaloo with John Force and everyone involved, Dave Despain went on record in Wind Tunnel and gave down the numbers of how it went for Tony and how it didn't go for Tony in his championships and his non-championships. And, Drag Racing Mayhem's been in the comments section and been making a point of, look, the whole dive thing, how team orders thing, that's been a part of motorsports for a very, very, very long time. And it shocks me that drag racing fans find it odd that it takes place. So, look, Larry Minor and his teams all the way back in the day. My dad, working for Ford Motor Company, he talks about things back in the day with all the team cars. And John Force Racing, like, you do the numbers. It's very clear, okay? Now, here is something. A few people have brought this up. I've seen it in comment sections, and it is something definitely to be cognizant of. We now operate in a day and time where money's involved.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in bringing this up, I'm not saying Elite or anyone else has, and I'm not trying to pinpoint a situation, but if you take a dive and it can be proved you took a dive for a monetary gain with what we have in betting now in the sport.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yep. That's why I say the NFL's not doing enough when their referees make egregious mistakes that are obvious to the average fan who knows the sport. And then you're going to send the team an apology? Well, how about that person that you just cost a couple $100 or better for that call that hurt their bet? How about that? And when you got that, that's my whole thing. And I'm glad you brought that up. That's my whole thing with all of this too. Like, that can't happen. If that happens and it finds out that, well, guess what? That's some hellacious discipline, because you just messed up somebody's bet. And I'm sure if they find out that there was diving going on, they'd be pissed. So they have to protect the integrity of the sport in that regard too. And I think to Tony's point, that's why when you have these little things, especially with what they look like, and we know the history of this sport, Tech needs to go ahead and do their normal investigation, and when they find out that yes, there was an absolute issue, there was no foul play, and let the media know that so they can put that out there and we squash it. Because at the end of the day, you're going to have it come up.
So we come back to the middle ground that they got to. The NHRA needs to be on top of that, and if there's thoughts of someone diving, kill it.
Yep. You got money involved now, man. Like you can't have that kind of stuff floating around out there like that. It's not good for the racer, but it's definitely not good for the NHRA because people are betting now. That's the biggest problem, and I've said that ever since the NFL got involved in that too. You know, this lack of not caring about these extremely egregious calls that are costing teams games and costing people money, and you turn a blind eye to it. When people say, "Oh, it's rigged," you're not squashing that. So you got to come out and take care of that ASAP.
Look, overall, I know that conversation blew up, and it blew up, I think, for the wrong reasons. I don't think people are realizing the middle ground they really got to.
Yeah.
And they're just Camp Tony or Camp Erica. And also, look, I would have said when Tony first got in that role, fire him then. But Tony has improved as a broadcaster, significantly so. Okay? I think it's time that folks need to lay off Tony a little bit. And remember, he is a champion. He is a multi-time national event winner. He does know the sport.
From driver to owner.
Yes. And he is certainly, from when he got into that role to now, he has drastically improved.
Which, you know why? Because he stopped giving a crap. Like, I like the fact that Tony is just going to say, he's going to tell it like it is. You ain't got to like it, but he's going to tell it just like it is. And he doesn't care what you think. And that's the problem with all sports. It's too much middle ground, too many people trying to be friends in the business. I've said that time and time again. Y'all going to hear me say whatever. You ain't got to like it. Some of you don't like what I have to say. But at the end of the day, I'm not here to make friends with none of those guys.
Right.
I really don't give a damn.
Right.
But when I see something, and when you out here stinking up the joint, I'm going to call you on it.
Right.
And we're going to talk about it. And I've done enough in this sport to be educated enough to speak and not look like a complete ass. So I don't care about what your feelings are. And he doesn't either. And that's how it should be.
Right. Again,
that's fair reporting.
Go back. Like, what are they saying when it comes to football talk shows? What are they saying when it comes to baseball talk shows? What are they saying? And for whatever reason, like, those in drag racing, they just, like, some of them can't handle it.
Yeah, I don't get it.
And
the same people are football and baseball fans.
As Andrew also had on his question, you know, J.R. Todd put out a tweet. I still don't know exactly what he's referring to.
Me neither.
And here's why. A lot of people are like, oh, well, it's Joe Costello and how Joe asked the opening question in driver introduction. But then you read it, and what Coletta Motorsports quoted it as, it says peers. Well, when it says peers, and you quoted it from a funny car driver, I think you're talking about a funny car driver.
Logan says no one does, and he's right, because I couldn't figure it out either, Jason. I could not figure it out at all. I was like, what is that? I know people were assuming what they thought it was, but I'm like, what did anybody say that was wrong?
What are we getting at?
I don't know. I
don't know.
I would like the clarification on that.
Yeah.
Because even so, I'm sorry, but you got asked a tough question and you don't like the tough question. I mean, what do you want them to do? Pander to you? Because at the end of the day, like I said, they have a job to do too. It's in the business of fair reporting. And if there's something and you're floundering around and your team's not going rounds and you're having hiccups in the second round and phantom tire smoke, Joe has a right to ask you about that.
Right.
Okay.
Look, let's take earlier. Cruz is on here. And I'm like, Cruz, look, in the past, you've been accused of not allowing things to have a maturation. And here it is now. You've had some maturation with Jason and others involved, and you're seeing some fruits of success. So he could have got mad at that, but he's like, you know what, you're right. But hey, here we are. Yeah. And by the way, he gave us some background information. He's like, look, there's things that sometimes you don't see behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. And as the owner, I get to look like the bad guy. Like, I think Jerry Jones is the bad guy, but I don't see everything behind the scenes with the Dallas Cowboys. I just know we haven't been to a Super Bowl since I was a kid. Doggone it. Come on, Jerry. Nonetheless, So here, you put something out on X, Coletta Motorsports doubles down and quotes it, and they say peers.
So who the peers?
So are you referring to someone that's a professional as you, even though it's in a different plane, or are you referring to a funny car driver?
Right.
So and also it was put out at like 11:16 a.m. So Are you referring possibly to what Hagan said? Or no one knows.
No one knows. What's weird to me too, JR don't have no problem with putting people on Front Street. So why are we so like like we gotta daggone decode this thing?
Yeah.
To figure out
I feel like back here
should
be moments of pictures of interviews with red string connected off of JR's tweet of like, what are you talking about? And hey, we're talking about JR. Maybe he's accomplishing exactly what he wants.
Right.
Because it certainly isn't a round win at the moment. And we're talking about him. I mean, what?
Did he just pull a Jerry Jones? He did just pull a Jerry Jones. He's not winning, but we're talking about him. So, hey, any pub is good pub.
I don't understand.
I couldn't figure that one out.
Look, and since we are talking hypotheticals, Joe, if it is, Joe didn't ask anything wrong.
No.
And if it is Matt, I don't think Matt said anything wrong either.
Well, so here's another thing, bro. How long Joe been doing this? And as long as I've been paying attention to Joe, and before I even had an opportunity to even step into this realm, listen to him on his podcast and all of that, when have you ever known Joe to not ask a tough question? Like, what are we talking about? Like, I don't believe it is either, but I'm like, still, Jason, like, when have we ever heard Joe not ask the tough question that maybe somebody else wouldn't ask, kind of like Bernie Mac would say, he gonna say what you want to say. Joe not afraid of that. He's always asked the tough question. So, I mean, if you don't know the cat by now, like, I don't know what to tell you. What you getting all bent out of shape for? You should already expect that from him, because Joe ain't gonna shy away from trying to ask a tough question, and he gonna get the answer. You either gonna give him the answer or you gonna give him some coaches speak, but he gonna ask a tough question.
We don't know. We don't know.
Weird.
I do find it interesting though that Coletta Motorsports they quote it too. So it doubles down.
Yeah.
Sean Langdon likes the quoted. So like everybody over there is double down.
Yeah.
On it. But what are we?
Oh man. Oh yeah.
Can we get an official statement?
I think the official statement should come. The official statement, they need to go into the low zone, and they need to give the official statement from the low zone.
Why not?
I'm demanding it. because we inquiring minds want to know all this,
Right.
all this decoding. I don't have time for all that. I'm too old for that.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, Maple Grove, from what we're talking about with Erica and Tony, JR, to everything that happened on track and who wins and who doesn't.
Yeah.
We hadn't even talked about Greg Anderson and being disqualified for something that should be very well known in the world of pro stock. But what an event.
It was, man. Crazy. Jason, thanks for watching too, man. Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, what an event. Like that, you know what that thing with Greg reminds me of? It reminds me of the time that Riverboat Ron didn't know the overtime rules. You've been coaching for this long, and you didn't know how all of that would work in overtime. And then has the nerve to admit it in the post game. And it's like, how long you been doing this? Like, must have had a lot of stuff going on. The pressure of the moment, you know what I mean? It's playoff time. It's I need to make sure that I'm staying in the hunt. My teammate is running exceptionally well.
Right.
I've got to be in the hunt, and you just had a mental lapse.
Yeah.
I can see that.
And you can tell the team is trying to communicate, don't go past this line. And Greg missed it. You know, we're human.
Yep.
That was a big miss, though.
Yeah, man. Ouch.
In the moment, maybe he just forgot. I think the last time that happened, it was actually Maple Grove. I can recall it happening during qualifying. I was there, and I think it was Alan Perninsky, maybe, or maybe Delco, one of them. They went past, they muffed the burnout, and then went past, backed up, went past, and the starter at the time, told him, "Hey, you're done." So rules are rules, and I guess no dry hops, sadly.
None of that.
I know people aren't doing dry hops anytime soon, but yeah, and Drag Racing Mayhem brings up. We hadn't even talked about Brittany retiring. Stepping away, like even leading up to Maple Grove,
right?
The news cycle from Josh. I'm Josh Hart. My Top Fuel operation is for sale. Hey, this is Richard Freeman.
Yeah.
And so
he had him on speed dial.
Yeah,
Richard was like, no sooner he saw the post, he was like, it was seconds, and he was like, let me call him right now.
Yeah. I imagine Richard was like, expletive, I'm buying a Top Fuel car.
Exactly.
And then we roll into Brittany's retirement, and if you know anything behind the scenes, apparently someone let something out a little bit too early than it was supposed to. And then we get to the press conference itself, and what a weekend for the sport of NHRA drag racing.
So I'm going to talk about that. This is not the first time that this said person has done this, okay? And what my problem is look, we all know, all of us who are part of this media, that this is different. And I learned that the first time I came in here and started to build relationships. This is not, there are no Adam Schefters here. There are no Ian Rappaports in here. Those guys are the teams. And my problem is why does this person think that they're special, that they can put out stuff before the teams do? Because if that's the case, I've been putting in a lot of work in here. Bobby been putting in a lot of work in here. We should have the ability to be able to break those stories, not somebody that's just coming in here and pandering on big stories and don't ever cover the sport. I think it's Bush League, and I think it's ridiculous that you think that that's okay. And then you had the nerve to try to justify that to me on Twitter. There's no justification. This is a different ball game. This is not the NFL. This is not MLB. This is not any other stick and ball sport. The teams break the news. Because there's 1,000 things that I could have broken that I knew about. But that's not how it works here. And you're not anybody special.
Yep.
Okay?
Look,
I'm tired of that crap.
I get you, man. The IHRA announcing fuel altereds are going to be a part of the next event. Man, I've known that for like a week and a half.
Right.
Like, I've been waiting on the press release from them.
Exactly.
I mean, behind the scenes, I even sent something to them from the people doing fuel altered that they wanted to kind of, hey, this is what we're thinking. So like, I mean, I don't get why.
Then had the nerve to tell me that because I knew it, it was my obligation to break it. No, that's how that's how you lose people's trust. Okay,
right.
Like, I am very fortunate to be able to know some of the things that I know because people trust me with the information and know that I ain't gonna go flapping my gums or think that, hey, look at me, I'm gonna make a name for myself. Like, it's ridiculous. And there's some things that are just simply, yes, they tell you, but it is off the record. And you have to respect that. That is doing what you do is piss poor journalism. Go work for TMZ. I hate that crap. That is a problem.
Yep. Dave W., PRI 2024 gathered up with all the fuel altered people trying to pitch to NHRA, IHRA, and anywhere else to run at national event level type places. So I've known about it a little longer too.
Yeah. It's like, that's just my whole thing. Like, stop it. You did it with Tony, and then you did it with this, and then they didn't even say anything about it. So now you look like a complete and utter fool.
Yeah, and you can tell it messed some things up because you go read Bobby's article, and Bobby, I don't know exactly, but when it rolls out, you can go read it, and it's like in a press conference, but the press conference hasn't happened yet. So people realize what's going to happen, but things are trying. Oh, we're getting and trying to roll things out because one horse got out of the gate
before the other horse.
Right.
Come on,
right.
Man. Come on, man. But with that said, I am happy for Brittany, and I kind of figured once they made that rule that would be a possibility. Look, like I said it on my show, Brittany has nothing else left to prove, man. I mean, how many top fuel drivers can say they won 2 championships?
Oh,
not very many, man.
No,
not very many. And on top of that, you're up there with Kitty Bernstein, man. Yeah. You are literally the queen of speed forever.
Right.
Forever.
Right. And
there's nothing else left to prove.
Yeah, I mean, right. Yeah.
Go right off in the sunset. Enjoy your family life.
Yep.
You've put in enough for this sport.
And I will say, out of all the Force daughters, she may be the one to come back out of all of them in time.
Yes, I could see it.
And from everything I understand, she's not done with the sport either. She'll still be involved.
Yeah.
But it's, hey, I'm going to get out of the car. I'm going to start a family. And, man, congratulations. Cool move. And also, where is everybody that said the sport would be dead when Don Schumacher and John Force are like, folks, we've been there. John Force, Don Schumacher, may he rest in peace, is the late, great Don Schumacher now.
Mm-hmm.
And John Force is out of the car, and he's very clear in interviews. He's like, my driving days are probably done. We haven't got an official announcement, but even said it in the press conference, opening up, he's like, my driving days are probably done. He's kind of in that Richard Petty-esque mode already now.
Mm-hmm.
We're here. And guess what? Drag racing is still having major news announcements, and it's still moving forward, and it's still having sold-out crowds at places like Maple Grove.
Yeah.
Okay?
This was better than free agency frenzy of 2025. I'm like, this. We had stuff go on. No sooner free agency hit, but This right here was better than anything that happened in NFL in the offseason. Way better. Way better. And it's going to get even better. Like, it's insane, the stuff that will transpire. Like, this silly season is above anything else that we've seen in sports, for real. It has been that was amazing. And what's wild is that is the last force that will be on a racetrack for some time.
Yes.
Maybe forever.
Yes. So, man, Maple Grove, 2025, the 40th anniversary event. We're going to look back, I think, from years from now and go, you remember 2025 Maple Grove?
Remember that? Remember the 2025 Maple Grove? When they had that announcement? That'll be me, because I'll be
right. Right.
I might be able to still do this show.
If Bobby will have us, no telling.
Yes. Might need to go younger.
He might. What a weekend. And
man. Fantastic.
Look, I know Erica and Tony might not be sending Christmas cards, but it was good for the sport.
It was good. It's good for the sport.
And we're still wondering what JR is talking about, but yet, you know what? We're talking about it. It's good for the sport.
Yep.
I know in the future we're about to not have a force at a NHRA Mission Foods national event in competition, but the sport moves on.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
We had surprise winners. That's good.
Yeah, man.
You know,
in the countdown too.
In the countdown, we had crashes. I hate cars getting wrecked, but makes great for the highlight reel, and all the drivers got out okay.
Yep.
It's good for the sport.
Yeah.
We were able to announce a sellout crowd. It's good for the sport. So,
yeah, it'll be the first time since 2020 when they didn't race COVID year. Yeah.
I mean,
that kind of gives me a little bit of chills, a little bit. Like, that's wild, man. Ever since I've been born, known a force. You know what I mean? Like, it's wild.
Well, 2020 wouldn't quite be accurate because you do have the first several races. The season, the season got interrupted at Gainesville.
Right, I remember that too.
Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah, that was a wild.
Now, if you count the other events and people running national events, sure, but if you look at it just season and participation, and you can make an argument a force has been out there since when.
Right. So, question. Memphis Lonnie talks about them not showing wrecks. Are you okay or not okay with them cutting it when they do?
When I don't. All right. So in the back and forth of watching and everything, I caught the tail end of Tony and Doug's incident.
Yeah.
And then I didn't see it early enough on the national broadcast because I did switch from NHRA.TV eventually to the national broadcast. So I'm not entirely sure. Now, if they're not showing them live, look, show them live. It is a part of racing. Wrecks happen.
Yep.
And that's another thing. Drag racing, like I've had people get upset with me filming a race and then trying to go get an interview or something from the driver that wrecked. And they're like, well, you don't want to show that. And it's like, well, I'm glad you're not driving a late model stock car at a local short track because they wreck all the time.
All the time.
And I guess it's just a cultural difference, but this stuff happens.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if you're not going to show it live, even if the guys are okay, why do you use it in your highlight reel so much?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I know they use the thing of, well, they want to make sure that they're alive, I guess. But, I mean,
now, if it's live, like Jacob's bringing up, if it's live and it happens, there's not much you can do. But if you're waiting until you know there's not a serious injury and then you show it, that's different.
Yeah.
That's different. But
because I remember back in the day, even though it was on, like even though you saw it, if there was serious injury, like I mean, I don't know. I'm sure somebody in YouTube has it somewhere, but I know they did not. You didn't see the Darrell Russell incident ever again. The only one they really played was Scott's, which I was very surprised that they did. It was the day after, I think it was. They weren't racing that day, but they showed it on ESPN, which I was surprised. I was surprised at that.
Yeah.
But I know some they won't, if it ends up in, death, they don't show them. They weren't showing them again.
Yep. Mark, I don't know if the determination has been officially made, but there is a fan photo out there. It's on social media that it appears that tire is inflated, and yet the wheel is. So I don't know what the failure was. Just glad Tony and Doug came out of it okay. I think after the fact, you look at the damage caused. I mean, the A-arm was just completely sheared off, it looked like, after the contact, period.
Yeah.
So, oh well. But I don't know if they've made a determination. What I can tell you is people are already talking about it in the chassis building world.
Yeah,
They are. And
that's bizarre. That's something you just never would have expected out of everything that happens. You don't expect those front wheels to do that.
Yeah, there really haven't been many issues with front wheels. I mean, I think the most prominent one would be Shirley Muldowney's, obviously.
Yeah.
And what happened there. Obviously, Don Garlett's with his Swamp Rat in '86. It wasn't a matter of necessary failures, but it really wasn't the right tires. It was like belts, and they switched to little airplane tires, and it worked out fine. But it's been a while for a failure of this type. Wherever, I mean, I don't know if it's A-arm, don't know if it's wheel, don't know if it's tire. The NHRA, I mean, I'm sure they could probably look at it with one of the super slow-mo cameras they have and probably get a better idea.
Yeah.
But there is a great photo out there by a fan that was in the stands, an amateur photographer, and got some great shots and got a shot right in the moment. And it's interesting. I imagine some folks are looking at what he got.
Yeah. Yeah. 'Cause I'm sure they want to get to the bottom of that, especially.
They do. And look, can I say this? In racing, stuff fails. These cars are at the very extreme of physics. That's why they're wearing the safety gear they are. That's why they're strapped in. That's stuff will fail. And in a failure, it's not necessarily the fault of Goodyear or the chassis builder or the wheel manufacturer or anything else, anyone else. Sometimes things just fail. And that can happen at 330, 340 miles per hour.
Yeah, it can. It can. I'm just wondering because, there's a lot of maintenance that goes on. I'm not sure what the maintenance is with the front wheels, but how they have certain amount of runs that they have for a tire. I wonder if did they ever have a certain amount of runs on that whole front assembly before it's rehabbed or, maintenance stuff.
I'm sure there's a number on the book, but yeah.
I'd like to know that. That's what I'd like to know if that's the case.
I don't know how many. I recall asking how many runs you can get out of the front tire. I will say they are more inflated than you would imagine.
Really?
Yes.
I thought it was just hard rubber.
They have a lot of air in them.
I did not realize that.
Yes. It's like a complete opposite. The back's like there's hardly nothing. In the front,
exactly.
they are a lot of air.
I did not realize that. I thought they
Yes.
were just a hard rubber, like, just
No, they're no.
didn't realize they actually had air in them.
Yeah, it's interesting. And then, what I really wish we could see for every pass? There's a sensor on the wheel. So, the speed we get is an average. All right, now it's over a short distance, but it's an average. There is a sensor on the front wheel that is like a wheel speed sensor that they equate to mile per hour. That's what I'd like to see.
So how fast Brittany was really going at 340?
Right. Yes.
What did the wheel sensor say?
I would love to know.
Yeah.
I'd love to know. Because
it's probably higher than that.
I grubbed it. Might not have even showed her. Maybe she didn't want to know.
Yeah. Like you're darn near in a darn rocket at this point. Like,
Yep.
This thing's gonna take off the next time.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, I'd like to know that though. That's some good information. Even if you tell it to me and I can't say nothing about it, I'd just like to know what did that speed say on that sensor?
Yeah, I think, for example, Lex June, he just went a career best at 321 miles per hour. The sensor equated it to 327.
Okay. So she could have been going almost 350.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Dude. That's wild.
Yeah. Hey, thanks to Goodyear.
Yeah,
Nobody out there in the tire world, Michelin, Bridgestone, Fukuyama, whoever, nobody wants to build that tire.
Yeah. Nobody.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, Mighty Max says Jack saying about Tasca, he had been going like 350 when he.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be shocked.
I wouldn't be surprised either.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked with that.
Yeah, that's wild, man. That is wild.
Yeah. What?
So
man,
why not measure it off the sensor then?
I don't know. I don't know.
Is it just because that's the way we've always done it, so we're gonna keep it that way?
Maybe there's per car not enough calibration or something like that. I mean, right. I don't know, but right, it's official timing equipment versus team equipment.
Yeah.
It would be interesting one day if someone put a radar gun on them, like at the end of the track.
Yeah.
But there's variables in radar guns too, so
right.
Almost any measurement of speed there's a window.
Right.
So, look, it is insane what they're doing. It is absolutely insane.
Defying gravity on every pass.
Man, 1,000 feet. They have 320 less feet to do it in. And they are... yes, it is.
You remember when they first said they were going to 1,000 feet and the absolute uproar that it caused? And the first thing I said when that happened, I was like, they're going to figure it out eventually.
Yes.
They'll be back up to speed. They're too smart. Yeah. Those crew chiefs are too smart.
Yep.
They'll figure it out.
Right. It's like Don Perdome said. He's like, hey, we've been blowing this stuff up. We'll blow it up at a quarter mile. We'll blow it up at 1,000 feet. If you want to back it up to the eighth mile, we'll blow it up. I mean, you can blow it up at any point in time.
Yeah.
It is absolutely outstanding, the performance they're getting out of these cars at this point, and what an outstanding drag race we had at Maple Grove.
Yeah, I can't imagine what's going to happen this weekend.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good. I won't be there. You and I will be on old Rocky Top, Knoxville Dragway for the Southeast Gassers Association. So if you're not making the trip down to ZMAX Dragway and you're in the area of East Tennessee, come on out to Knoxville Dragway. You will not be disappointed. Some great drag racing taking place this weekend at the Southeast Gassers Association. Molly Motorsports Mountain Madness. There at
Should I wear my
Knoxville
Georgia
Dragway.
stuff?
Do what?
Should I wear my Georgia stuff?
Oh. You want to?
Nah, I think that might be dangerous.
It might be. It might be. So it's a midday game, so you might not encounter too many that care because we'll be racing while they're at the game. So, but you might not want to go in public after.
Yeah. I'm just going to stay incognito.
Yeah. There you go. Yes, there you go. Yeah, because you never know. They do throw things in rivers like goalposts.
Yes, they do.
So
you got that right.
Non-Tennessee fans might make it into the river over there. You never know. But man, I think we're going to look back at Maple Grove and not just in this particular championship chase, but in many ways, it's going to be like hypothetically, let's say in 5 years, Elite Motorsports wins a Top Fuel championship. We're going to be like Maple Grove. That was a changing point in the sport. Whatever Josh Hart does, and if he goes on and performs better than he has been in the situation that he has been in, changing point, 2025 Maple Grove. What if we do have tethers finally change in the sport for funny car? Maybe the last straw that broke the camel's back. 2025 Maple Grove.
Yep.
When we finally figure out what JR is talking about, we'll look back and go 2025 Maple Grove. So, what a drag race.
Yeah, man. Amazing. Man, I think it's going to get even more crazier this weekend.
I agree. I do remiss. I didn't ask Cruz about his Raiders. They did not have a good game.
I know. Oh, man, that was bad. I just think they played a better team. My Chargers are just a better team. And they're missing dudes on the outside. They just don't have enough. They don't have good firepower at the wide receiver position. And that's
I thought Geno looked pretty good.
Yeah, he made some old school Geno throws, but I just think they just don't have the receivers out there. And your Browns do want Baker back. Baker is just Baker the touchdown maker. That boy is balling with the Bucks for sure. Yeah. And they gave us all we could handle, but you got to tell your coach to stop talking to kickers. Nobody talks to a kicker when it's time for that big kick. And they're like, oh, well, they were talking to the kicker. They were doing this. Yeah, when they said that, I was like, yep, this dude's going to miss this thing. Too many
don't talk to the kicker.
Here. That guy needs to be off by himself at the edge of the bench doing whatever he got to do. Whether it's a little tick and he's fixing his hair all the time, let him do it.
Right. Matter of fact, you put blinders on that boy. Don't let him see score. Don't let him see situation. You bring him up, son. This is, you're in the fourth quarter. Like, this is just the first quarter. There's no pressure. Just go.
Don't say nothing. So,
don't say nothing.
I appreciate it because that enabled us. When that happened, I knew that Georgia was going to win. Just too good.
What a time. Cannot wait for Southeast Gassers Association this weekend. Cannot wait for what they've got going on at ZMAX Dragway and plenty of drag racing across the country. Like right now, again, we still got Drag Week going on. You can continue to follow that on the Motor Trend YouTube channel. And we've got the OG Million taking place. I think that's on Motor Mania TV. I think if you want to follow along on that major bracket race. So a lot of drag racing is taking place. So it's heating up. Yeah. Dujanay, anything else?
Nah, man, I think we're good.
Good. To everyone out there, God bless and keep the pedal to the metal. I'm Lee Kraft, a.k.a. the Monday Morning Racer, and over there is Mr. Bland, the host of the Not Bland Show. Thank you for your time. I think we probably made everybody mad at this point, and we need to shut up. So, everybody, take care.
QuarterMileClassifieds.com is a new and easier alternative to online classified advertising. We make it a simple experience with $20 getting your car, hauler, engine, or parts listed for 2 weeks. If you want to make a bigger splash, we have VIP listings that provide even more exposure, including social media. On QuarterMileClassifieds.com, you get up to 10 photos of video and up to 2,000 characters to deliver the message you need to make the sale. QuarterMileClassifieds.com is a trusted classified ad partner of Competition Plus and the Roof Deck Top Eliminator Bonus Fund. Visit QuarterMileClassifieds.com today.